You talked to me about tariffs yesterday. Did any foreign leaders approach you and ask for...
I did, and you probably saw. I think every foreign leader approached me and said hello, and a lot of good relationships. And we're going to be taking in a tremendous amount of money. We're going to be taking in a lot of jobs, a lot of plants and factories. They're already coming. I mean, you see it. And we're going to make a lot of money, and we're going to cut taxes for the people of this country. It'll take a little while before we do that, but we're going to be cutting taxes, and it's possible we'll do a complete tax cut, because I think the tariffs will be enough to cut all of the income tax. Now, we have a lot of debt that's been left to us, unfortunately, over many years. We'll take care of that, but the tariffs, if people only understood the tariffs, we're going to be giving people of this country a tremendous tax cut. And we're going to start with people making less than $200,000 a year.
Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, guys. President Trump announces possible tax cuts to millions of Americans. Mainstream liberal media goes nuts after Russian President Vladimir Putin sends a shocking gift to the White House. Ukraine and Russia could be very close to a peace deal, and the thief who stole from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem has just been identified. Guys, we have a lot of important updates today, starting with what's happening with these tariffs. Now, according to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, things are going very well. Something that critics are questioning given that we haven't seen any deals done yet.
We have a process in place over the next 90 days to negotiate with them. Some of those are moving along very well. Nobody's better at creating this leverage than President Trump. He's shown the high tariffs, and here's the stick. This is where the tariffs can go, and the carrot is come to us, take off your tariffs, take off your non-tariff trade barriers.
I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks since these negotiations have been ongoing, but still we don't have any trade deals announced yet. There are a lot of countries on this list. How much time do you think the president has to start completing some of these deals?
Well, we've certainly seen some changes from the foreign countries. We've had trillions of dollars of investments promised into the United States, bringing jobs back home, tens of billions of dollars in the pharmaceutical industry alone, which has, again, left the country to a large extent over the past few decades. This president is bringing those jobs back, and I think the reason is because of the threat of tariffs.
You look at some of this recent Fox News polling that we have out on this when it comes to the economy and jobs. There's some skepticism out there that the tariffs will help the economy. 32% say help, 55% say they will hurt the economy. Jobs at 36%, hurt at 44%. Do you think that the American people have the patience to watch this happen? And people are losing their jobs, or there are issues with manufacturers who aren't getting inputs from from countries around the world. Could this snowball?
I don't think so. I think what's significant to note is that, yes, some people are losing jobs, but the unemployment rate is basically unchanged. The fact of the matter is this economy is changing. The president is bringing jobs back into the United States, again, getting trillions of dollars of investment from overseas companies to build their stuff here. And that's really, really important for America.
That was Representative Andy Harris with a very optimistic point of view when it comes to these tariffs. Tariffs that, as you heard, could cut taxes for a good chunk of the country. Now, if we go by what the president said, income tax could be eliminated for households making less than $200,000 a year. Drop a quick yes in the comments down below if you want to see income taxes eliminated. Statistics are now showing that less than 15% of U.S. citizens make over $200,000 annually, which means this could possibly affect more than 85% of this country soon. Wouldn't that be amazing? Not having any taxes taken out of your check? What? But of course, it's going to take time. Tariff revenue will have to first come in to offset what people are currently paying into their taxes. Now, the best part is that while we're not exactly assured that we will see taxes completely eliminated, there is a good chance that these taxes will be substantially reduced, with President Trump going on Truth Social to say that this will be a bonanza for America and that the External Revenue Service is happening. This is looking to be a huge gamble for the president, as his approval rating is taking a hit with some polls. A new ABC Washington Post Ipsos poll shows that the approval rating of the president right now is at 39%, the lowest job approval rating for a president at roughly the 100-day mark for his term, going all the way back to at least 1945. However, I am guessing that if these tax cuts come into play, that number could change dramatically overnight. Now, real quick, guys, what do you think about that poll data? Can we trust ABC, Washington Post, Ipsos polls? Let me know what you think on those poll sources. Now, let's move on to Russia, as their leadership has sent a special gift to President Trump a few weeks ago, something that mainstream media is calling out. In fact, some of them are claiming that Putin is playing to President Trump's narcissism, which in turn could give Russia everything it wants in Ukraine.
Well, this is the first glimpse of what we're told is a portrait gifted to President Trump by Vladimir Putin in March. You can see the Russian artist who we met in Moscow was pretty kind, showing Trump looking heroic, even trim.
Не сломился, он не испугался. Он, наоборот, поднял руку, что мы все равно с Америкой едины и вернем ей то, что она достойна.
The painting, handed to Trump envoy Steve Witkoff, was clearly meant to flatter as Trump and Putin discuss ending the Ukraine war and rebuilding ties. And apparently it worked. Witkoff said Trump was touched at what he called the beautiful portrait. Well, Safronov is one of Russia's most famous artists and has painted dozens of world leaders before. The late Pope Francis and, of course, Vladimir Putin. The Trump painting, he told me, was commissioned by a patron he suspected was the Kremlin.
Понял, что это может быть очень важным политическим каким-то шагом на сближение наших стран.
Later, he says he was contacted by President Putin himself, who told him the flattering Trump portrait was an important step in Russia's relationship with the United States.
So it looks like Putin is all in when it comes to peace talks, and we now have a rough draft of the terms and what Russia could get under President Trump's peace proposal. It says here, de jure, U.S. recognition of Russian control in Crimea, which means the U.S. will recognize that Russia has a right or claim to Crimea. De facto recognition of Russia's occupation of different territories, which means that we recognize them seizing these areas, even though other states may not recognize it in the same way. A promise that Ukraine won't join into NATO, but could become part of the EU. Sanctions to be lifted, including those applied since 2014, and enhanced economic cooperation with the United States, specifically for energy and industrial sectors. Zelensky on his end seems to be receptive of a deal, or at least that's what their website's saying. It says here, Ukraine is ready to agree to an unconditional ceasefire and continue participating in negotiations for lasting peace in any format. Vice President J.D. Vance also talked to the media to say that this could be the last attempt to intervene in this war, arguing that we've already done too much and that peace should be desired by everyone involved.
We've issued a very explicit proposal to both the Russians and the Ukrainians, and it's time for them to either say yes or for the United States to walk away from this process. We have engaged in an extraordinary amount of diplomacy, of on-the-ground work. We've really tried to understand things from the perspective of both the Ukrainians and the Russians. What do Ukrainians care the most about? What do the Russians care the most about? And I think that we've put together a very fair proposal. We're going to see if the Europeans, the Russians, and the Ukrainians are ultimately able to get this thing over the finish line. Again, I feel pretty optimistic about it. I think everybody has been negotiating in good faith, but it's now time, I think, to take, if not the final step, one of the final steps, which is at a broad level, the parties saying, we're going to stop the killing, we're going to freeze the territorial lines at some level close to where they are today, and we're going to actually put in place the kind of long-term diplomatic settlement that hopefully will lead to long-term peace.
Well, guys, the great wealth transfer is in full effect. Our freedoms are being stolen, guys. Credit card companies are out to get us. And if you don't understand the game, well, you end up getting played by the game. Now, if you're anything like me, guys, you know, you were probably out of shape, maybe in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, and just feeling like the system is just completely taking advantage of you. I remember for a long time, I could rarely ever get any time to spend with my wife. And through trial and error and through a lot of pain, I figured out how to gain freedom and also lose a lot of weight and actually get in shape. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a game changer. To no longer be living paycheck to paycheck, figuring out how to get the credit cards to pay me, the power of a strong credit score. I pay thousands of dollars less per year for the same house as my neighbor just because my credit is better than his is. And this is not to brag. I mean, but this is the truth. The banks are literally taking advantage of the poor. It's like the people who can least afford it, they're charging the poor what is like unofficially called a poor tax or a tax on the poor. I mean, I'm now at a point where, you know, like, number one, I don't pay for credit cards. In fact, credit card companies pay me to use their cards. And I figured out how to build a lifestyle that is just ultimately very, very healthy. I lost a tremendous amount of weight and I put on a lot of muscle. But when I was struggling, I wish I knew people who knew these things. So anyway, I decided to create a community of like-minded people who are also interested, just like me, in living better. So if you guys want to join my community, it's called the Liberty Pursuit Network. It is brand new. Come on over. I'd love to have you guys and join like-minded people. Be positively motivated by others who are also on the same pursuit. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can join me over on the Life Pursuit Network in the description down below this video. So check it out, guys, and let's not be a victim of this great wealth transfer that is taking place right now. Now, let's talk about this next story that you just can't make up. It's now coming out that the thief who stole from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem was an illegal immigrant, one who is believed to be a part of a robbery organization in the East Coast.
We're learning more information right now about the theft of a purse and some $3,000 in cash from DHS Secretary Kristi Noem on Easter Sunday. I want to put up a post from her talking about the individual that was arrested, believed to be an illegal immigrant. And you can see on social media saying, "Thank you to the Secret Service and ICE and our law enforcement partners for arresting the criminal who stole my bag on Easter Sunday as I shared a meal with my family at a Washington, D.C. restaurant." The individual is a career criminal who has been in our country illegally for years. Unfortunately, so many families in this country have been made victims by crime, and that's why President Trump is working every single day to make America safe and get these criminal aliens off our street. Of course, it was, according to her, a Chilean national was previously busted for a similar scheme in London. Mario Bustamante Leiva, a 49-year-old, was arrested on Saturday after he allegedly made off with that luxury shoulder bag. Also, a post from Ed Martin, the U.S. attorney there in the District of Columbia, saying this repeat offender will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, quote unquote, "No one is above the law." And the New York Post also gathering a mugshot for the individual, saying an illegal migrant accused of snatching Kristi Noem's Gucci bag identified as a serial criminal from Chile.
And he's not the only suspect that we know of. A second suspect has already been arrested and has been linked to this crime.
A second person has been arrested in the theft of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's purse, and that person was arrested right here in South Florida. The Secret Service says they and ICE agents, with the help of Miami Beach police, arrested 51-year-old Christian Montesino Sanzana at a Walgreens on Collins Avenue in South Beach. His arrest form says he is homeless and lives in Miami. The Secret Service says he's being held on an immigration detainer. Agents say he's linked to a pattern of robberies and thefts in Washington, D.C.
As crazy as this story sounds, guys, I want to remind you that there are judges out there trying to keep repeat offenders inside the country for whatever reason. This is something that I covered in a recent live stream here. What's insane is that they're actually letting them stay in their homes. I mean, what I mean to say is they're staying in the judges' homes. Anyway, make sure you guys check out that video because it's just totally crazy and the news just absolutely shocked me even further. As always, thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next time.